Welcome back to New York City Gardener. I'm Nastasha. All right, I have a giant list, but I think I'm just gonna focus on a few things I can realistically get done today. First thing is I got soil at Home Depot. I bought 10 bags of potting soil. So it's now time to get all of my tomato bags filled up to the top. I wanna make sure that I get that done first thing today. I also have enough soil to start filling up my potato bag. My potatoes are sprouting, and so I wanna start just filling it up. I'm not gonna fill it up all the way to the top because I wanna let those leaves grow over time, but we can at least add probably another inch or two of soil. I also need to plant my asparagus. I've said for probably the last 5 videos I need to get this done, and I've been procrastinating because the asparagus bag is kind of in a back corner that I can't reach easily, and I did that on purpose because I'm not going to be harvesting asparagus until 2027, 2028. This is the last seed starting that is not actually planted. I also need to plant some more seeds, so crops that didn't take, like for example, my cucumbers, I planted 3 different varieties, but only one of them sprouted. And so I'm not sure why, but I think I just need to plant those seeds again. So let's get growing. Okay, we're gonna start with this bag. This is a Jubilee tomato, and I really only have the soil only about this high. So the first thing I want to do is remove all the lower leaves that are going to be below the bag height. And then what I like to do is use them as like a mulch. So I'll put them in like another bag or something so I don't have to buy mulch, and also a little more sustainable, I guess. You want to be a little bit careful when you're doing that because if the leaves have a disease on them or something, or bugs, maybe you don't want to do that, but I don't have any issues with these tomatoes, so I'm going for it. So I think that looks good. I do have some mustard greens in here and some eggplant. So I'm gonna move these to a different container. I didn't wanna have all that in this bag anyway, but I was just doing it because I didn't have any additional space. But I think now that I'm gonna move the soil up to here, I need to get these out of here. All right, so let's get that done. All right, here we are. I've topped off all the tomato bags. Here's a great example. So if you remember, it was way far down in there. And so what's unique about tomatoes is wherever the stem is along the soil, it'll develop roots. So that's kind of a nice thing about starting with the soil kind of low and then building it up, because then you have a stronger tomato plant over time. So I think that looks fantastic. Really happy with it. And this is the Jubilee tomato, and I cannot wait. I've never grown this variety before, so I'm very excited. And then I went ahead and transplanted all of the mustard greens to this container because I'd already filled up this bag, so we have that done. I also transplanted another flower. It's struggling, but it'll perk back up once we water this in really nicely. And then lastly, we have the eggplant here. We have 4 extra eggplant. There's definitely an aphid issue going on here, so I want to rinse those off, and then I'm going to put them in a different bag. So it's drizzling here in New York City. You can see that the cloud cover is getting a bit dark. I'm not seeing any lightning, so I'm going to keep going. All right, so let's spray these aphids off these plants. You know, when you do this, you'll never remove 100% with water, but it will definitely help. And I have been seeing ladybugs around the garden, and ladybugs are so good at keeping aphids under control, and I find that that is the best way to control them. Okay, it's starting to rain more, but we got more of the tomatoes watered. All of the soil bags are properly filled to the right height. Removed all the lower leaves. I would say in a couple days we'll start staking them, but right now you can see that they're totally fine. These, you can see they're much bigger, so we need to stake those pretty soon. Ooh, look at this. Oh my God, let's go. This is the gold nugget tomato. Yeah, it's an earlier harvest. Well, I don't know if you can hear it, but the rain is coming down. Really raining now, but I'm gonna keep going. This is the orange Wellington hybrid. Never grown this variety either. This one we lost the plant tag, but I have it documented on another video, so I'll just redo that one. This is the beefsteak tomato. I have grown this one for sure. What else do we have here? Oh, we have 3 in here. We have the steak sandwich hybrid. We have San Marzano. These are seeds that I got when I was in Italy in Amalfi. And then this one, which we already have some growing. Here we are. These are some yellow cherry tomatoes that I also got in Italy. I'm taking care of a friend's cat, and he's just out here being like, what is she doing? I think he really wants to come outside, but look at how cute he is. Oh my God. All right, on to the potatoes. We have some good growth going on here. All 5 of them, I believe, are sprouting. So definitely 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one, I thought it wasn't sprouting, but I actually do see a little bit of green here and here. So I think that it is sprouting. I'm not gonna add soil to this section just in case, but I think I will add some soil here because we have a little bit of height, maybe just an inch, nothing crazy. Definitely getting rained on, but there's no lightning, so I'm not worried about it. If there was lightning, I'd probably go inside, but we're good. Also good for the plants, some extra water, especially for all the soil I've been adding. Get everybody settled in. Yeah, so I'm just gonna skip that section, that one potato that looks like it's sprouting, but it's just behind everybody else. I'm hoping that one will sprout. Yeah, so I really just added about an inch, not a ton. Okay, let's water the new soil around the potatoes. That one potato was a little bit exposed, so I added soil there. And I'm just being very mindful of these new sprouts. But yeah, this is fun. It's my first year growing potatoes. So let's do a little garden tour since it's basically raining cats and dogs at the moment. All right, here's a bag, 20-gallon grow bag that has my grapevine. And I do want to fill up the soil all the way to the top. You can see how much space there is, like almost my entire hand. So we do need to fill this up. However, I have some things in here that I want to wait to harvest first. So here's a beet. If I pull this beet and I transplant it, it's not going to form one. It has to stay in the container. So I want to wait for that. I'm going to wait for this lettuce. I want to do that first, and then we'll add the soil. I also am probably going to remove this borage at some point because I'm worried that it's taking up a lot of the nutrients from the grapevine. I may do that, but I haven't decided yet. I also have so many blue borage plants throughout the garden that I don't necessarily need this one. Another thing that we need to do is start pulling up the plants that are going to seed. So we have the lettuce going to seed. We have some radishes going to seed here. All the cool weather crops are starting to be done. So we need to start pulling those. And then also you can see the peas are definitely on their last leg. So we need to do like the final harvest and then pull these out. So we have this cantaloupe here. We have the seedling and it's doing well. I went ahead and finally got a chance to top up this bag. So we have all the soil that we need. It's a bit misshapen. It's not like a perfect aesthetic looking circle, but that's because I want the cantaloupe and the pumpkins to grow along this trellis, which is really just a shelving unit. So I've been growing it in here until I got my last grow bag. So we're gonna be transplanting that soon, but I want to give this seedling just a little bit more time because I don't want to transplant it too soon and it gets too stressed. We also have the watermelon down here. We have all three sprouted, which is great. So now we are at some point going to need to choose which one we go with. So I'm gonna give them a little bit more time. We have lettuce here going to seed as well, so we should definitely get that out of here. We have cilantro going to seed. These flowers are edible and they taste just like cilantro. Chamomile's looking great. First year growing chamomile. I actually had this plant last year, didn't really produce any flowers, and then this year it's going wild. Raspberry bush is looking fantastic. Look at all these raspberries. How gorgeous. Look at that. Oh my God. Whoa, too beautiful. You can see that the older leaves with the raspberries are kind of yellow and the new growth is green. So that means I didn't fertilize it enough. So the new growth is taking all the nutrients. Not a huge deal, but I did add fertilizer to it just the other day. And you can see the same thing with this different variety as well. The older leaves are very yellow and then the new leaves are very green. So probably should have fertilized a little bit more, but at least we're getting our raspberries and that's all that matters. This is another pea that I have growing here. You can see that it is pretty much done. So what we need to do is harvest these final few peas and then we remove this plant. And then I haven't decided what I'm gonna put in this trash can yet for my crop rotation, but we need to figure out what goes after peas. So I'll have to decide that later. Fig tree is looking great. Man, if we could get a fig this year. But yeah, usually it's a next year situation, so we'll see. I think it's actually starting to clear up. You see the clouds up here and then the blue sky coming around? Anyway, let's get the asparagus planted and the eggplant. So the eggplant bag is all the way here, and I have other bags here normally that just need to be pushed back. So that's why it's like kind of out of the way. I'm not gonna be harvesting asparagus until next year and the year after. But I wanna go ahead and get these in there. Then we're gonna put the eggplant in this bag because I had something in here, a fruit tree that did not grow. Let's get this asparagus in the soil. So we have asparagus I started from seed. Let's get these into the soil. I'm just finding space for them, removing the radishes that went to seed. It's definitely too late for radishes to produce. Radishes are cool weather crops and it's just too hot for them now. And I thought intercropping radishes with the asparagus would have been a great way to make the most of this bag, but I guess they just didn't get enough water. So this is asparagus I started from seed last year. We'll harvest this asparagus next year. And I have way too many plants here, but I want to plant them all anyway. And that way, if some of them don't make it with the transplanting, then I'll have some insurance. And I've been wanting to do this for a week, so wow, it's finally done. Now let's get these eggplants into a larger container. Eggplant is a great crop to follow after lettuce. And this bag was supposed to be for kiwi, but the plant never grew. So that's okay. I'm just gonna put eggplants in here anyway. But we do have lots of lettuce, so that's exciting. So let's tuck these eggplants in here just to see how much we can grow and we can harvest this year. And after we harvest the lettuce, Then I'll top it off with compost. All right, I want to get all of these seeds planted, so let's get that done right away. First up, we have this mammoth basil. Basil goes really well with tomatoes, so I'm gonna plant it right in here. And then we have this nasturtium. It's a jewel blend, all these beautiful orange and red colors. So I'm gonna put that with these two tomatoes. So I'll have one here and hopefully it'll just kind of spill over and be absolutely gorgeous. We have this nasturtium, which is kind of more of a pastel. We're gonna put that in these two containers. That way we'll have two different colors of nasturtiums because my partner, he loves to use that when he plates dishes. And then we have these two cucumbers that did not sprout. So we're gonna get those back in this container. So we're gonna put the straight 8 cucumber down there and I'm gonna put the cucamelon down there. But you can see these muncher cucumbers sprouted and they're looking great. I just have to pick one. Probably gonna go with this bigger one here. We're gonna give them a little bit more time. And finally, we have 2 different chives. These seeds on the right are older seeds, and I'm kind of wondering if that's why it's not working. Maybe these seeds just don't have any viability anymore. So I'm gonna plant both of these. I'm gonna put them both in this container here. I wanted this whole container to be chives, but it's really just Johnny jump ups, which is fine. But I think we're gonna put one here and then one here, and then that way I can get an idea if it really is the seeds or if it's something else. There is more that I need to do. For example, since I now have more soil, I need to fill up these containers to allow these tomatoes to have a bit more soil to connect to. Ooh, look at that. Would love to give this one away to somebody. It already has tomatoes growing on it, and it has absolutely no soil in there, and it's already developing tomatoes, which is pretty cool. So I would love to give that away pretty soon. Looks like we're gonna have some peppers, looking good. But I think for today, we're gonna end it. If you have any questions, just feel free to comment below. Everything in the video is linked in the description. I'll see you guys on the next one.